Hello there students, welcome to this video. My name is Faby and in today's class I will be talking to you about clauses, dependent and independent clauses. Many people get confused with phrases and clauses, but a phrase, as we may already know, does not have a subject or a verb, and a clause has a subject and a verb. And unlike phrases, a clause, an independent or principal clause, can stand by itself or alone as a sentence. Alright? Okay, let's get started. The first example here I have on the board says Anthony is interested in psychology. Anthony is interested in psychology. Do you think this is a phrase? No, it cannot be a phrase because we can see here we have the subject. And over here we have the object, right? Interested in psychology is, we have the linking verb. I'm just going to put an L and a V, linking verb. Anthony is interested in psychology. So this cannot be a phrase whatsoever. This is a clause, and it's an independent clause because let alone this clause can stand for itself as a sentence. Alright? Anthony is interested in psychology. You don't need any other complement. You don't need any other phrase. You don't need any dependent clause. This by itself stands for a sentence, as a complete sentence. Alright, let's go to the next one. It says, the meeting started a couple of hours ago. The meeting started a couple of hours ago. The meeting would be our subject here. This way we know that it is not a phrase because we have a subject. The meeting started, we have a verb. So this is a clause. The meeting started a couple of hours ago. The meeting started could be or is an independent clause. I am just going to write I.C. independent clause. Alright? A couple of hours ago. This right here is a dependent clause because on its own it cannot stand for a sentence. It cannot be a sentence alone. A couple of hours ago. So this over here depends on the subject right here. The meeting started a couple of hours ago. Alright? So this is a dependent clause. D-C. Dependent clause and independent clause. Alright? The next one. When the time comes, you will know what to do. When the time comes. So right here, we're using time as the subject of the sentence. When the time comes. Is that an independent or a dependent clause? You will know what to do. It could be a dependent clause because it is not telling you a complete thought or idea. When the time comes, you have another subject here. You will know what to do. This is an independent clause, the second one. You will know what to do. It can't stand for a sentence by itself. You will know what to do. It makes sense by itself. But this one does not quite make sense by itself. When the time comes, you will know what to do. So, this is a dependent clause or a subordinate clause, and the second one is an independent clause or a main clause. All right? The next one says, he is a great businessman in his country. He is a great businessman in his country. He, we have a subject. Subject. Is, we have the verb or the linking verb. He is a great businessman in his country. And businessman, that could be an independent clause. Independent clause. And the rest of the sentence stands for a dependent clause in his country or a prepositional phrase in his country. Why is it a prepositional phrase? Because we are using a preposition in his country. So that is a prepositional phrase. He is a great businessman, independent clause, in his country, prepositional phrase. All right? So next I am going to move on to some practice sentences so that you can interact with me. Moving on to some practice now. All right, so clauses. You are going to help me circle the independent and dependent clauses. So help me identify them. The first one says, Kelly moved to Delaware a week ago to inaugurate her business, to open up her business. Inaugurate. Kelly moved to Delaware. Is this a clause or a phrase? It's a clause because it has a subject. Kelly. Subject. And a verb. Moved. Verb in past. Verb. Kelly moved to Delaware a week ago. This alone could be an independent or a principal clause. Kelly moved to Delaware. That could be a complete sentence, right? Kelly moved to Delaware a week ago. And this right here would be the dependent clause. To inaugurate her business. Because this right here depends on this subject and verb. Kelly moved to Delaware a week ago to inaugurate her business. So this is a dependent clause. And this one here on top is an independent clause. The next one says, he will fly to Japan this Sunday morning. He will fly to Japan. We have the subject again, and we have the verb or verb phrase, will fly. He will fly to Japan this Sunday morning. This is an independent clause. Independent clause. He will fly to Japan. That could be a sentence by itself. It doesn't need any more complementation. But if you want it complemented, you could add a dependent clause. This Sunday morning. All right? So this is the independent clause. I see. And this is the dependent or subordinate clause. All right? The next one says, she will get there just in time to meet with Luke. Just in time to meet with Luke. She will get there, okay? So, she, we have our subject, will get, we have our verb phrase. She will get there just in time. This could be an independent clause. She will get there just in time. Or up to here. She will get there. Period. That could be a sentence. Just in time to meet with Luke would be the independent or subordinate clause. Just in time to meet with Luke. Notice over here that when we are talking about clauses, they are almost always complete thoughts. She will get there. Period. Just in time to meet with Luke would not make sense without the subject. So this depends on the subject. But if we left it like up to here, she will get there, up to over here. She will get there just in time. This would no longer be a dependent clause. This would be a prepositional phrase because we are using a preposition to meet with Luke. We are actually using two prepositions. So these could be two prepositional phrases instead of one dependent or subordinate clause. Well, I am going to move on to some homework so that you can practice a little bit more and improve your English and your knowledge in the clause phrase field. All right? Now for homework. You are going to write 4 sentences using capital letters for independent clauses and parentheses for dependent clauses. If you have your workbook, please do it in your workbook, and if you don't, please leave your homework in the comment section below this video. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you next time. Would you like to watch my next video? Click on the television to the right. About the complex sentence. As you may already know, complex sentences are composed by